Hi guys, Alberto here. You're watching the Bedroom Rocker YouTube channel, and today we are checking out the Roland GR20 guitar synthesizer. This is a bit of a different video because this guy is turning 20 years old next year, but Roland or Boss, which are the same corporation, continued the lineage of this product using the very same platform based on the proprietary pickup GK3. So the current lineup includes the Roland GR-55, which is also 10 years old now, but more recently Boss released the SY-200, SY-1000, and in 2023 the newest one is the GM-800. So the idea here is to give you an overview about the platform, what you can do with it, how does it sound like, what are the ins and outs, and hopefully to help you make a better decision whether this is for you or not. I'm gonna start by playing the GR20 synth sounds over a backing track. Then I'm gonna cover the main features and use cases, give you a couple more sound samples in isolation, and finally move on to the review part. So grab a drink, sit tight, and let's go. As I have mentioned, the Roland GR20 and all subsequent products, so the GR55, the Boss SY-200, 1000 and GM-800 are all based on the same platform, which is the Roland GK3 pickup. This is this pickup here, and you need to install this in your guitar in order to make it work. This can be done using adhesives or brackets. In my case, I have used the bracket to install the controller using the strap pin of my guitar. And I have used a double-sided tape or adhesive to install the pickup in the guitar body. You then have a patch cable going from the guitar into the controller, and you can use the controller to adjust the volume of the GK3 pickup. You have a three-way switch between the GK, the guitar sound, and a blend between both. And you have two additional buttons that you can use to change the patches up and down. You can also reconfigure these two buttons to use the glide function, which is a pitch shifter, and the hold function, which is a sustainer. Finally, you have a 13-pin cable connection here that you use with the proprietary cable from Roland. This goes into the pedal, which is where the transformation of the signal into MIDI happens, and where you configure your virtual instruments or your synthesizer sounds. Now let's take a look at the GR20. So the cable from the GK3 is coming in here. This is the output going straight into my audio interface. I'm gonna power the pedal. It has, of course, the expression pedal and the 2-foot switches for the glide and hold controls. Usually the first thing that you should do is to adjust the sensitivity of the GK pickup. This can be done here. And then you basically just play each one of the strings and the LEDs will light here, and you just make sure they are not always lighting fully, so they are not clipping the signal basically. And if necessary, you can adjust here, so this means 6th string and the intensity value. Then we can browse through the different presets. These are organized by categories. So I'm here in the brass category. Here we have wind instruments, strings and orchestra. And then of course in the newer versions you would have a nicer LED display. Here I just see the number of the preset. I can scroll, but I would basically need to have the product manual on side if I want to know what each preset is. Then I have additional parameters that I can adjust here, like the attack. The speed of the release. I can add chorus. I can add a bit of delay or reverb. And also adjust the output level of this particular preset. There are additional parameters that you can edit using the patch edit. So the first one is the frequency, which is like a master tone knob. The next one is the resonance, which is like a depth control. Transpose, which is an octave pitch shifter. And finally, play fill, which is basically telling the GR20 how are we going to play this. You can adjust basically the amount of headroom in your playing from 1 to 4. 1 gives you the most amount of headroom, while 4 tends to compress your playing a bit more. Then you have ND, which is node dynamics. This basically means every note that you play would come out at the exactly same volume. This is great for if you want to get, let's say, a more digital sound. And finally, we have strumming, which is basically if you are strumming the guitar and you have plenty of dirt in your playing, or let's say ghost notes or notes with a very low volume that you don't want to trigger the synthesizer. So this mode tends to ignore those notes. So 1 gives you the most amount of headroom or the most sensitivity, which I tend to like for this kind of preset. Then I can basically write, and this will write down the preset into user mode. And this is now saved as my preset number 24. And now I can also do blend the guitar signal in. So this is the pure straight guitar signal with the GK blended in. And only the GK. There's then additionally global settings, which are shown in orange here. These are the output between line or guitar amplifier. In my case, I'm going straight to the interface. There's the switch mode, and this is to control the function of the foot switches. Patch link setup and MIDI channel if you're using MIDI with this. Besides that, you can also control the type of glide and the type of hold. This is also for each one of the individual presets, and also the function of the expression pedal. At last but not the least, you get a nice tuner here that you can use to tune the guitar by using the LEDs here. So that's it. It's a pretty actually straightforward product to use. Even after 15 years taking it out of the closet, it was quite fast to relearn it and to get some good sounds out of the box. I like some of the presets better than others, but generally they all do a pretty good job. In terms of connections from left to right, we start with the GK input, then we have the guitar out for you to send your guitar signal into a guitar amp. Then we have a stereo mix input, and this basically mixes this input signal with the processed signal from the GR20 and send it into the outputs. This is great, for example, if you want to use an amp modular together with the GR20, so you send this output of the amp modular into the mixing of the GR20. Then we have the stereo output left and right, which can also be used as mono in the right and headphones on the left. We have overall master volume for the outputs, and we have the MIDI control in and out. So you can use an external MIDI controller to switch the presets and parameters of the GR20. And you can also use the GR20 to control external virtual instruments, which is a great alternative application for it. Let's hear some more sound samples now in isolation. I'm using the PRS SE Custom 24, plugged straight into the GR20, and then I'm sending two separate signals with the GR20 or the synthesizer sound and the guitar sound, and I'm mixing them in the DAW. For the guitar sounds, I'm going to use Amplitube as the amp modular. So let me know what you think about the sounds and the features of the Roland GR20 guitar synthesizer. Overall, in terms of sounds, I think most of them are excellent. You can really tell that 20 plus years ago, someone from Roland put some significant hours into designing those presets and creating the sound textures. And most of them are really realistic and really nice. So that's a big plus, and I would assume most of these have been carried on or even improved for the newer versions. In terms of features, even this 20-year-old unit feels really high-end, so really in terms of the parameters that you can tweak, how easy it is to get a good sound, and also in terms of connectivity, it still feels quite updated, so I would happily bring this into a gig integrated into a pedal board. And then, of course, with the newer units, you would have a nicer, bigger LED screen, and you can edit your presets on the software, which is, of course, much more convenient. Finally, in terms of build quality, I mean, this is Roland and Boss. I don't think I even have to mention. The thing is 20 years old. This has been, on the floor of many concert venues and it's like still kicking ass here. One thing though, the switch from my GK controller is kind of has a bad contact there. So sometimes I'm supposed to be on the GK only position and some of the guitar sound is still coming through. But I guess this is expected from a mechanical switch after 20 years. So overall, great sounds, great features, and solidly built unit. The latency is good or at least acceptable in all of the presets, but I also seldom got this very fast, almost analog-like response that you can get nowadays with most digital amp modelers. So I would expect the newer versions by Boss with stronger processors nowadays to have also way better latency times. In terms of tracking of the notes and the general playing feel, I think this is where things get way more complicated. So you need to have a very clean and precise, almost chirurgical-like playing style in order to trigger the correct notes in the synthesizer. If you have kind of a dirty playing style or play lots of ghost notes like I do, you may have a hard time adapting your playing style for this. Also forget about shredding. If you play lots of fast notes, the device is not able to track all of them very precisely. And finally, I think the most important thing is that this is a completely different pickup style from your guitar pickup, and is also a completely different sound. So you also need to approach the guitar in an entirely new, different way, as if it were a completely new, different instrument. And this can be quite challenging in the beginning, but is also very rewarding in terms of creative output. In terms of pricing, all of these units are rather on the high end of the spectrum. So the Roland GR-55 goes for 750 euros, the Boss GM-800 for about 800 euros, and finally the SY-1000 for over 1000 euros. You then also have to buy the pickups, the adapters, and the cables completely separately, and you need to install this additional pickup in your guitar. So overall, the entry cost and the entry barrier to this technology is quite high. And of course, this is really not for everyone. It does something very specific. But if you want to make your guitar sounds like a saxophone, a sitar, or get some cool pad sounds out of it, there are really not many other ways around it. So that's it for today. I really hope the review was helpful and fun to watch. If that's the case, make sure to leave a big like. And if you have any additional comments or questions about this product, make sure to write down in the comment section below. Also, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to support the Bedroom Rocker YouTube channel, make sure to check my affiliate links in the video description. If you use them to buy anything, I earn a small commission, and this really helps me to get the channel going and getting additional products to make reviews like this one at no additional cost for you. So keep on rocking and cheers!